They appeared to reach common ground because they started to talk about the same thing when he asked Joe if he said, if we're going to deviate from the original meaning of marriage, then what's the point of having, then there's no point to having marriage. Insinuating that there's an original meaning, an original meaning of, or an original definition of marriage that everyone approved of. And Joe Rogan said yes. His answer was yes, there is meaning. And then he went to the subjective side again. And he said, well, if it's for a gay couple, it might be something else. If the gay couple thinks, so if for the gay couple it's A, it doesn't affect the fact that you think it's B in your marriage. And perhaps another person will think it's C in their marriage. But then what Matt, right? What Matt does is he goes back to the institution of marriage. So although they don't say it explicitly, the main point that they are arguing right now is whether or not marriage is an objective concept, it's an objective institution, or whether it's a subjective concept that can differ for everyone. Let's see if they are going to talk about that. Or maybe they're already talking about it, not explicitly, but let's see if they can at least discover that that's what they're arguing about.
Agree with you on that.
We are making the institution meaningless.
But it's not meaningless.
Well, but
it's very meaningful to the people that have it.
Subjective, symbolic, and it's about your own personal feelings.
Isn't it, though?
Well, no, I would say that it's not.
Well, if it's not subjective and it's not symbolic,
Yep. They reached it. They talked about it. Maybe you can play it back again where you started. But they started with, they asked the crucial question. So it seems like they are going in the direction of discussing whether it's subjective or objective.
Isn't it, though? People that have it.
Subjective, symbolic, institution, meaningless.
But it's not meaningless.
Well, but
it's very meaningful to the people that have it.
Subjective, symbolic, and it's about your own personal feelings.
Isn't it, though?
Well, no, I would say that it's not. If
it's not subjective and it's not symbolic,
it codifies and protects and gives a name to a thing that actually exists, which are man, woman, couples creating people, creating babies,
but not always.
Right, but that's still the nature of the union. So,
but what are the percentage of people today that are married that don't have children? I bet it's pretty high amongst heterosexuals.
Probably.
Is there something wrong with that?
I think there is something wrong with that. I think there is something wrong with getting married and saying, oh, we're not gonna have any kids at all.
But why is there something wrong with that? If someone's personal choice, why is it wrong that two people are like, I am deeply committed to work and I don't want to sacrifice any of my career and I don't want to ruin a kid because I'm constantly at the office, but that's where I get deep satisfaction and that's what I'm focused on. And the woman says, that's great because I don't want children either. I really am attached to my interests and my career and what I like to do. That's not damaging your relationship with your wife and your family. I certainly don't think of it as a threat to my marriage or my family.
Yeah, it is a personal choice.
Right, but shouldn't people be allowed to make those personal choices? Like, isn't that a fundamental aspect of what it means to be American, to have that freedom?
Well, right, yeah, but right now we're not talking about what people are allowed to do. I'm not saying
Well,
that.
we're talking about marriage, gay marriage.
Okay,
that-
we were just discussing straight couples who choose
Straight
not
couples
to have kids.
choose. That's also a personal freedom issue,
Right.
isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm not saying that straight couples should be legally required to have kids, but I if you're asking me, do I think it's the right choice to just get married and choose not to have kids ever? I do not think that that's the right choice. It's their choice, but people can make choices that are wrong. And you can disagree.
How is it wrong if they have a fulfilling and wonderful life together with that choice? If their thing is that they just want to have a bond between the two of them to just like take it to the next level, let everybody know, like, we are married. If I die, my money's going to go to Helen. And if Helen dies, I'm going to mourn her because she was my wife and now I'll be a widower. Like, to some people, that distinction gives them peace and security and makes them feel better about the relationship, that they're both so committed that they've legally signed documents that say that they're bound by law and under the eyes of God or whatever you believe in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add about this part?
No, I think they've reached common ground, or at least they're discussing the same things right now. And it's just whether or not, now it's just a matter of convincing, shall I say convincing? So they're argumenting. Maybe they're not trying to convince each other, or at least the end goal is not to convince each other. But at least they know what they're talking about right now.